Welcome back, class. Today we're going to look at rounding numbers. So if we have, for instance, the number 32, and we want to round it to the nearest tens. Okay, so we're going to look at the possibilities here. If we have 32 on a number line, and the nearest tens are 30 and 40. So that's between 30 and 40. We have to figure out, is it closer to 30, so we round down, or is it closer to 40, meaning we round up? As you can see, obviously, it's closer to 30. So in this case, 30 is the answer. Now, how do we figure this out? So, again, looking at the number 32. We realize that we're looking for the nearest tens, so we're underlining the tens column. And then to figure out if this should go down to 30 or up to 40, we just look at the next number. So in this case, the ones column. This is a 2, which means it rounds down. If it's a 0 to a 4, we round down. If it's a 5 to a 9, we round up. Okay, so it's the same concept no matter what you are looking at as far as the size of the number. So let's say we have the number 568. And again, we want to round this to the nearest 10. Okay, so we're looking in the tens column. So 568. The 6 is in the tens column. We look to the next number. It's an 8. 8 means we round up, so this would go to 570. And again, using a number line, you would see that 560 would be we round down, and 570 would be the answer if we rounded up. So there's always the two possibilities for each of the numbers. Okay? And let's just stick with this 568. And we want to round this to the nearest, let's say, hundreds. Okay. So again, hundreds is this column. We look at the next column. The 6 means we round up. So instead of going down to 500, we would go up to 600. So that would equal 600. And again, looking at a number line, so the number could go down to 500 or up to 600. And because that number is a 6, it means it's closer to 600. Now, there's another trick here to remember. If the number you're rounding is a 3, for instance, the answer will either have a 3 or it will go up to a 4, right? So a 3 or a 4, and the rest of the numbers are 0. In this example here, this is a 5. So it's either going to be a 5 or a 6, and the rest of the numbers are 0. And again, this is true for any number. So if we look at, let's say we have 6,812, okay? And we're going to round this to the nearest, thousands, okay? So we look at this number, it's a 6. So that tells us immediately we have two possibilities. 6,000, because the numbers come after it are 0. Or that number moves up 1 to 7,000. So those are the only two possibilities. So we look at the next number, it's an 8. That means we round up. So the answer will go up to 7,000. Okay? This is true, again, for even going into decimal places. So let's say it was 5.68, and you wanted to round that to the nearest tenths. So that's tenths. Look to the next one. It's either going to be 5.60 or 5.70. Now, of course, when we're writing decimals, you don't have to write this decimal point or this hundredths place because they're 0. And everyone after that is also 0. We don't need to write those. So the hundredths is an 8, which means we're rounding up. So the answer would be 5.7. Okay, I hope those little tricks have given you something to think about, and hopefully rounding numbers will be a lot easier.